Moving on, we have a lot to learn from our global leaders. As you can see right now on the screen, you have a lot of institutes that are focusing on inclusion, whether it be Yale's, which has a Center for Dyslexia and Creativity, University of California, Stanford University. In our own landscape, we have institutes like IIM Bangalore, Ashoka University, IIT Kanpur, and many more that have started to provide a lot of education, and we are far ahead in our journey towards inclusion of students with specific learning disabilities. We know that globally institutes are welcoming students with specific learning disability. And why is that? That is because with the innate nature of having dyslexic thinking skills, which are the skills of the future, they know that if they support their candidates well, the next disruption towards a successful future for mankind, the next innovation, the next successful entrepreneurial idea can be from their classroom. Here you have Professor Negroponte. He talks about how specific learning disabilities are so common on the campus of MIT that they are now called the MIT disease. He is also an individual with dyslexia and founder of MIT Media Lab that gave birth to the idea of one laptop per child, and he's also called father of GPS. You can also see that all these leading institutes, whether it be Brown, Yale, Stanford, are focusing on welcoming these students, and also it takes a lot of pride to know that now we have Indian higher education institutes that are on their path towards inclusion. This will include a lot of IIMs, IITs, we have Ashoka universities, and they're doing incredibly well in terms of supporting students with specific learning disability. Moving ahead, we now need to focus on the different pillars of inclusion in higher education institute that can actually support our students perform really well. So starting from the very first one, which is our admissions, it's very important that our kids are aware that the institute is supporting their inclusion journey and provide them the opportunity to be able to get past the entire admissions process. For this, it's very important you give them the right accommodation, you give them the counseling that can prepare them for the college life. You need to make sure that there are schemes and scholarship that supports their journey, and to prepare the campus for welcoming students with disability. Then we talk about academic support, which is very, very important. We know that our students might have a literacy deficit but not an intelligence struggle. So the moment you provide them academic support, course material which are accessible in their formats, instructional aids, alternative methods for their assignments, accommodations, tutoring, counseling, buddy system, they tend to outgrow their journey of disability and perform really well in their campuses. Moving on, when we look at on-campus support, it's very, very important. Here, our lives go beyond our classrooms. We need to make sure that there is coaching support, there's academic planning support, because a lot is happening for a student when it comes to being on campus. Availability of accommodation which are as per your need. We have to remember no two individual with specific learning disability will have very similar needs because their struggle might be very different from each other. Availability of on-campus champion to be able to advocate is very important. Mental health facilities to support the higher anxiety levels, overstimulation is something that comes really, really handy. Then looking at our access to resources becomes very important if you want to provide them with the right assistive tools, and therefore we need to make sure there is some supportive training at campus level to be able to take up assistive tools as a method of supporting students with disability. And last but not the least, when it comes to our employment opportunities, we need to focus on how can we have our students who've been very innovative, who can problem solve, look at the big pictures, perform better. So it's important that we provide them with a lot of details and support of different placement, internship opportunities, do employer sensitization, and also relay information of students, their struggles and their strengths with disability to our employers. This was our efforts to collaborate together to be able to create an ecosystem that strengthens the journey of students with specific learning disability and make sure that we have the next innovator from our institute.